Hey, Pack. We are going to pick up with another reading of Dante's Inferno, starting with Canto 5. Thus descended out of the first circle, down to the second, the less space begrids, and so much greater dole that goads to wailing. There standeth Minos horribly, and snarls, examines the transgressions at the entrance, judges and sins according as he girds him. I say that when the spirit evil-born cometh before him, wholly it confesses, and this discriminator of transgression seeth what place in hell is meet for it. Girds himself with his tail as many times as grades he wishes it should be thrust down. Always before him many of them stand. They go by turns, each one unto the judgment. They speak and hear, and then are downward hurled. O thou that to this dolorous hostelry comest, said Minos to me when he saw me, leaving the practice of so great an office. Look how thou enterest, and in whom thou trustest. Let not the portal's amplitude deceive thee. And unto him my guide, why criest thou too? Do not impede his journey, fate ordained. It is so willed that where is power to do that which is willed, and ask no further question. And now began the dulcet notes to grow audible unto me. Now am I come. There were much lamentations strikes upon me. I came into a place mute of all light, which bellows as the sea does in a tempest. If by opposing winds is combated, the infernal hurricane that never rests, hurtles the spirits onward in its rapine, whirling them around and smiting, it molests them. When they arrive before the precipice, there are the shrieks, the plaints, and the laments. There they blaspheme the puissance divine. I understood that unto such a torment the carnal malefactors were condemned, who reason subjugate to appetite. And as the wings of starlings bear them on, in the cold season, in large band and full, so doth the blast the spirits maledict. It hither, thither, downward, upward drives them. No hope doth comfort them forevermore, not of repose, but even of lesser pain. And as the cranes go chanting forth their lays, making in air a long line of themselves, so saw I coming, uttering lamentations, shadows borne onward by the aforesaid stress. Whereupon said I, Master, who are those people whom the black air so castigates? The first of those of whom intelligence thou fain wouldst have. Then said he unto me, the empress was of many languages. To sensual vices she was so abandoned, that lustful she made illicit in her law, to remove the blame to which she had been led. She is Semiramis, of whom we read that she succeeded Ninus and was his spouse. She held the land which now the Sultan rules. The next is she who killed herself for love, and broke faith with the ashes of Caecus. Then Cleopatra the voluptuous. Helen I saw, for whom so many ruthless seasons revolved, and saw the great Achilles, who, at the last hour combated with love. Paris I saw, Tristan, and more than 1,000 shades did he name and point out with his finger, whom love had separated from our life. After that I had listened to my teacher, naming the dames of eld and cavaliers. Pity prevailed, and I was nigh bewildered. And I began, O poet, willingly speak, would I to those two who go together and seem upon the wind to be so light? And he to me, Thou'lt mark, when they shall be nearer to us, and then do thou implore them by love which leadeth them, and they will come. Soon as the wind in our direction sways them, my voice uplift I, O ye weary souls, come speak to us, if no one interdicts it. As turtle doves called onward by desire, with open and steady wings to the sweet nest, fly through the air by the volition born, so came they from the band where Dido is, approaching us athwarth the air malign. So strong was the affectionate appeal. O living creature, gracious and benignant, who visited goest through the purple air, us, who have stained the world incarnadine. If were the King of the universe our friend, we would pray unto him to give thee peace. Since thou hast pity on our woe perverse, of what it pleases thee to hear and speak, that will we hear, and we will speak to you. While silent is the wind, as it is now, sitteth the city wherein I was born, upon the seashore where the Po descends, to rest in peace with all his retune. Love, that our gentle heart doth swiftly seize this man for the person beautiful, that was ta'en from me, and still the mode offends me. Love, that exempts no one beloved from loving, seize me with pleasure so of this man so strongly, that, as thou seest, it doth not yet desert me. Love has conducted us unto one death. Caenia waiteth him who quenched our life. These words were borne along from them to us. As soon as I had heard those souls tormented, I bowed my face and so long held it down until the poet said to me, What thinkest? When I made answer, I began, Alas, how many pleasant thoughts, how much desire conducted these unto the dolorous pass. Then unto them I turned, and I spake, and I began, Thine agonies, Francesca, sad and compassionate to weeping make me. But tell me, at the time of those sweet sighs, by what and in what manner love conceded, that you should know your dubious desire? And she to me, There is no greater sorrow than to be mindful of the happy time and misery, and that thy teacher knows. But if to recognize the earliest root of love in us thou hast so great desire, I will do even as he who weeps and speaks. One day we were reading where for our delight of Lancelot, how love did him enthrall. Alone we were, and without any fear, full many a time our eyes together drew. That reading and drove the color from our faces. But one point only was it that o'ercame us, when as we read of the much longed for smile, being by such a noble lover kissed, this one who ne'er from me shall be divided, kissed me upon the mouth, all palpitating. Galeotto was the book, and he who wrote it. The day no farther did we read therein, and all the while one spirit uttered this, the other one did weep so, that for pity I swooned away as if I had been dying, and fell even as a dead body falls. Man. Okay. Canto 6. At the return of consciousness that closed, before the pity of those two relations, which utterly with sadness had confused me, new torments I beheld, and new tormented around me, whichsoever may I move, and whichsoever way I turn and gaze. In the third circle am I of the rain, eternal, maledict, and cold, and heavy. Its law and quality are never new. Huge hail and water, somber-hued, and snow athwart the tenebrous air pour down amain. Noisome the earth is that receiveth this. Cerberus, monster, cruel and uncouth, with his 3 gullets like a dog is barking over the people that are there submerged. Red eyes he has, and uncouth beard and black, and belly large, and armed with claws his hands. He rends the spirits, flays and quarters them. How the rain maketh them like unto dogs. One side they make a shelter for the other. Oft turn themselves the wretched reprobates. When Cerberus perceived us, the great worm, his mouth he opened and displayed his tusks. Not a limb had he that was motionless, and my conductor, with his spans extended, took of the earth, and with his fist well filled, he threw it into the rapacious gullets, such as the dog is who by barking craves, and quiet grows soon as his food he gnaws. For to devour it he but thinks and struggles, then the like becomes those muzzles, filth begrimed, of Cerberus the demon, who so thunders over the souls that they would fain be death. We passed across the shadows which subdues the heavy rainstorm, and we placed our feet upon their vanity that person seems. They all were lying prone upon the earth, excepting one, who sat upright as soon as he beheld us passing on before him. O thou that art conducted through this hell, he said to me, recall me, if thou canst. Thyself wast made before I was unmade. And I to him, the anguish which thou hast perhaps doth draw thee out of my remembrance, so that it seems not I have ever seen thee. But tell me who thou art, that in so doleful place art put, and in such punishment, if some are greater, none is so displeasing. And he to me, thy city, which is full of envy, so that now the sack runs over, held me within it in the life serene. You citizens who wont to call me Cyaso, for the pernicious sin of gluttony, I, as thou seest, and hatred by this reign, and I, sad soul, am not the only one. For all these suffer the like penalty for the like sin. The word no more spake he. I answered him, Cyaso, thy wretchedness weighs on me, so that it weeps. It to weep invites me. But tell me, if thou knowest, to what shall come the citizens of the divided city, if any there be just, and the occasion. Tell me why so much discord has assailed it. And he to me, they after long contention will come to bloodshed, and the rustic party will drive the other out with much offense. Then afterwards behooves it this one fall within 3 suns, and rise again the other by force of him who now is on the coast. High will it hold its forehead a long while, keeping the other under heavy burdens. However, it weeps thereat and is indignant. The just are 2, and are not understood there. Envy and arrogance and avarice are the 3 sparks that have all hearts enkindled. Here ended his tearful utterance, and I to him, I wish thee still to teach me, and make a gift to me for further speech. Farinata and Teghaio, once so worthy, Jacopo, Rustasusi, Arriago, and Mosca, and others who on good deeds set their thoughts, say where they are, and cause that I may know them. For great desire constraineth me to learn if heaven doth sweeten them, or hell envenom. And they are among the blacker souls, a different sin downweighs them to the bottom. If thou so far descendest, thou canst see them. But when thou art again in the sweet world, I pray thee to the mind of others bring me. No more I tell thee, and no more I answer. Then his straightforward eyes he turned askance, eyed me a little, and then bowed his head. He fell therewith prone like the other, blind. And the guide said to me, he wakes no more, this side of the sound of the angelic trumpet. When shall approach the hostile potentate, each one shall find again his dismal tomb, shall reassume his flesh and his own figure, shall hear what through eternity re-echoes. So we passed onward over the filthy mixture of shadows and of rain, with footsteps slow, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, these torments here, will they increase after the mighty sentence, or lesser be? Or will they be as burning? And he to me, return unto thy science, which wills that as the thing's more perfect is, the more it feels of pleasure and of pain, albeit that this people maledict a true perfection never can attain. Hereafter more than now they look to be. Round in a circle by the road we went, speaking much more, which I did not repeat. We came unto the point where the descent is. There we found Plutus, the great enemy. Canto 7. Pape, Satan, Alepe. Thus Plutus with his clucking voice began, and that benignant sage, who all things knew, said to encourage me, Let not thy fear harm thee, for any power that he may have shall not prevent thy going down this crag. Then he turned round unto the bloated lip, and said, Be silent, thou accursed wolf. Consume within thyself, within thine own rage. Not causeless is this journey to the abyss. Thus is it willed on high, where Michael wrought vengeance upon the proud adultery. Even as the sails inflated by the wind, involved together fall with snaps the mast, so fell the cruel monster to the earth. Thus we descended into the fourth chasm, gaining still farther on the dulsome shore, which all the woe of the universe ensacks. Justice of God, who heaps so many new toils and sufferings as I beheld. And why doth our transgression waste us so, as doth the billow there upon Charybdis, that breaks itself on that which it encounters? So here the folks must dance their roundelay. Here saw I people, more than elsewhere, many on one side and the other, with great howls, rolling weights forward by main force of chest. They clashed together, and then at the point each one turned back, rolling retrograde, crying, Why keepest, and why squanderest thou? Thus they returned along the lurid circle, on either hand unto the opposite point, shouting their shameful metry evermore. Then each, when he arrived there, wheeled about through his half-circle to another joust. And I, who had my heart pierced as it were, exclaimed, My master, now declare to me what people these are, as if all were clerks, these shaven crowns upon the left of us. And he to me, All of them were asquint in intellect in the first life, so much that they with measure they no spending made. Clearly enough their voices bark it forth, wherein they reach the 2 points of the circle, where sunders them the opposite defect. Clerks those were who no hairy covering have on the head, and popes and cardinals in whom doth avarice practice its excess. And I, my master, among such as these, I ought for certain to recognize some few who are infected with these maladies. And he to me, vain thought thou entertainest. The undiscerning life which made them sordid now mouths them unto all discriminate dim. Forever shall they come to these 2 buddings. These from the sepulchre shall rise again with the fist closed, and these with tresses shorn. Ill-giving and ill-keeping the fair world have ta'en from them and placed them in this scuffle. Whate'er it be, no word adorn I for it. Now canst thou, son, behold the transient farce of goods that are committed unto fortune, for which the human race each other buffet? For all the gold that is beneath the moon, or even ever has been of these weary souls, could never make a single one repose. Master, I said to him, now tell me also, what is this fortune which thou speakest of, that has the world's goods so within its clutches? And he to me, O creatures, imbecile, what ignorance is this which thou dost beset you? Now will I have thee learn my judgment of her, he whose omniscience everything transcends, the heavens created and gave who should guide them, that every part of every part may shine, distributing the light in equal measure. He in like manner to the mundane splendors ordained a great minstress and guide, that she might change at times the empty treasure from race to race, from one blood to another, beyond resistance of all human wisdom. Therefore one people triumphs and another languishes, in pursuance of her judgment, which hidden is, as in the grass a serpent. Your knowledge has no counterstand against her. She makes provision, judges, and pursues her governance, as theirs the other gods. Her permutations have not any truce. Necessity makes her precipitate. So often cometh who his turn obtains, and this is she who is so crucified, even by those who ought to give her praise, giving her blame amiss and bad repute. But she is blissful, and she hears not among the other primal creatures gladsome. She turns her sphere, and blissful she rejoices. Let us descend now unto greater woe. Already sinks each star that was ascending when I set out, and loitering is forbidden. We cross the circle to the other bank, near to the fount that boils and pours itself along a gully that runs out of it. The water was more somber far than purse, and we, in company with the dusky waves, made entrance downward by a path uncouth. A marsh it makes, which has the name of Styx. This tristful brooklet, when it has descended down to the foot of the malign grey shores, and I, who stood intent upon beholding, saw people mud besprent in the lagoon, all of them naked and with angry look. They smote each other, not alone with hands, but with the head, and with the breast and the feet, tearing each other piecemeal with their teeth. Said the good master, Son, thou now beholdest the souls of those whom anger overcame. And likewise I would nave thee know for certain, Beneath the water, people are who sigh and make the water bubble at the surface, as the eyes tell thee wheresoever it turns. Fixed in the mire, they say, well, sullen were in the sweet air, which by the sun is gladdened, bearing within ourselves the sluggish reek. Now we are sullen in this sable mire. This hymn do they keep gurgling in their throats, for with unbroken words they cannot say it. Thus we went circling round the filthy fen, a great arc twixt the dry bank and the swamp, with eyes turned unto those who gorge the mire. Unto the foot of a tower we came at last. Goodness. Yeah, obviously this is not a happy story. This is very, very dark. And my eyes hurt from staring at that white page. But stay tuned. Click links, like, subscribe, check out my Patreon, spread the word, and, you know, let me know of any public domain things you'd like me to read. Hopefully I can pronounce them a little bit better than this one. Sorry about the names I butchered. But until next time, Howl at the Moon. Bye.